I get asked this question a lot. Buyers truly do experience buyer fatigue when they can't find the house they want in the neighborhood they want for the price they want. So they say, hey, Shamika, why don't we just build what we want? We can find a lot where we want to live, and then we can build the home of our dreams. So today I'm going to dive into the pros and cons of buying versus building. There is a lot to uncover, there's a lot to know, and ultimately it's up to you what you decide. But if you're deciding to build your dream home because you want to save money, I'm going to have to caution against that. In the industry, we say it always takes twice the time and twice the money, but with inflation, we are seeing that building a home now takes 3 times the time expected and 3 times the money expected. So let's dive in and talk about the pros and cons of building a new home versus buying a pre-existing property. I'm Shamika Fox, your Santa Cruz real estate expert, and I'm excited to dive in and talk about this topic today. Please note, we are going to be talking about Santa Cruz County specifics as well as the national specifics. So if the information that is revealed to you today does not resonate with you because you are in an area that we are not specifically diving in and covering, please comment below. I'd love to hear about your experiences. And also, if you need a real estate professional in your area to help guide you so that you can make the best decision for yourself, hit me up, comment below, phone, text, email, and I will be able to connect you with a wonderful realtor in the area that you live and or want to live. Okay. So first, let's talk about the cost of building versus the cost of buying. The current national average to purchase a home is $410,800 as we record this video in 2025. The median cost to purchase a home in Santa Cruz County is $1,300,000 as I film this video in 2025. The national average cost to build is between $150 and $400 a square foot. The variable is dependent on your style, aesthetic, and do you want high-end or do you just want to build a very basic home? The average cost to build in Santa Cruz County is around $400 to $600 a square foot. Neither of these prices include soft costs or hidden fees. When I say soft costs and hidden fees, I am talking about engineering, architecture, permitting fees. In Santa Cruz, we have environmental health fees with regards to enhanced engineered systems for your septic system. We have the Coastal Commission. We have the potential for needing an archaeologist on site if you are in an archaeological dig area, meaning that there is somebody that actually needs to be on your property should they uncover something that would be considered archaeologically relevant. Say that 3 times fast. Archaeologically relevant. So these building costs that I just gave you, the national average between $150 and $400 a square foot, are just the actual building costs from the time that you are laying your foundation to hammering up your framing and building the actual home. The soft costs are in addition to the price per square foot. The other thing that you need to consider are your holding costs. If you are buying a home that is pre-constructed, you can move right into that home. If you are buying a property and you are building, then you have holding costs. So you have the current cost of the property that you're living in, either rent or mortgage. You have the construction loan on the property that you're buying and building. You have property taxes on the property you just bought, plus you have either paid cash for the lot that you have purchased or you have utilized a loan to purchase the property as well. So there are holding costs on top of building fees when it comes to deciding to build a home. There are not holding costs such as these fees I just discussed when you buy a pre-existing home because you literally purchase the home and you move right into it. But what you could end up happening are hidden surprises, such as your water heater stops working, your roof fails because it's old, your HVAC system stops working, things of that nature because you are not building a brand new home. The components are already used and who knows how old they are or how worn out they are or how long they will last. So I would say that the pros of buying an existing home as it pertains to the cost showdown is that you get to move in quickly, you have predictable costs. costs. You've agreed upon a purchase price. You know what your down payment and closing costs are. You know the cost of the home. You buy it, you move straight in. The cons are surprise repairs and less customization. You don't get to pick the finishes. Now, of course, you can remodel. That's for another video, not today. The pros and cons of building new. You get to customize everything. You get to customize the features. You get to customize the finishes. You get to pick what you want and make it exactly what you dream of. And hopefully, if you get a lot in the area that you want to be living in, you get your dream home in your dream location. The cons are high soft costs, regulatory holdups, time sucking that you have no control over when it comes to permitting, architectural review, vendors, contractors, etc. So these are things that you actually have no control over. I would also say, in addition to your soft costs, is your holding costs. So when you're analyzing the costs, in my opinion, and this is in Santa Cruz, other places do things differently, I would say your best bet is to buy a pre-existing home and then you can remodel it over time once you are settled into it, because you have more predictability with cost. You can move right in so you don't have holding costs, and it just overall is a lot less stressful than buying and building and being captive of other people who are in control of the timeline and the cost. Let's look at the pros and cons of buying versus building with regards to the timeline. First of all, I'm just going to say that when you buy a home, a pre-existing home, you get instant gratification. The day that you close, unless otherwise negotiated and the seller is remaining in possession after the close of escrow, you get the keys, you get to move in. It's a party, it's a celebration. It's so exciting. Delayed gratification, though, could be actually very gratifying because you get to actually put your stamp on everything. And I have had clients who buy and they build and they are so happy with the outcome. So the delayed gratification sometimes does pay off. You just really need to be patient and you need to know that it's going to cost a lot of time and it's going to cost a lot of patience. So delayed gratification could pay off. For example, I had a client who purchased a home in the Live Oak area. We wrote an offer. Yes, we were competing. Their offer beat everybody out because it was cash. We closed in 2 weeks. They had their movers in and they were in their home and set up and comfortable in less than 30 days. Versus I had a client who bought a property, and now this was a fixer-upper. This wasn't even a vacant parcel. They bought a fixer-upper. There was luckily a carrying cabin on the property, or an ADU, so they were able to settle in the ADU. It was tight, it was cramped, it was squishy for their family, but they survived, so they didn't have the expensive carrying cost of still paying for another property, either renting or owning still. But the extent of the work that they did to get the home of their dreams, and it is beautiful. It is one of the most exquisite properties that I've seen in Santa Cruz. It is absolutely stunning, very modern, very high end. The time that it took for them to get to move into their dream home was over 2 years. So you can see the immediate gratification payoff versus the delayed gratification and what you get for both. So the pro is you get with the pre-existing home, you get to move in immediately. And the pro with a delayed gratification is you don't get to move immediately, but you get exactly what you want if you're willing to pay the cost. Now let's talk about customization versus convenience. Obviously, when you're buying a pre-existing home, you're not going to get to customize anything when you purchase it. That said, you can always remodel, you can always change things over time. Now, I do have a rule that you should live in your home for 6 months minimum before you start changing and modifying things. Now, if things are broken, obviously fix them. But if you're going to plan a massive remodel, I would suggest living there for a minimum of 6 months. That way you can see the way that the light pattern moves. You can decide where you're going to reach for your spices. You're going to decide where you're comfortable putting your head when you sleep, etc., etc. So with regards to customization and convenience, obviously a pre-existing home is going to be a lot more convenient versus building a home is not going to be convenient, but you are going to get to customize everything. So buy versus build when it comes to convenience and customization, that is a question for you. Would you prefer to customize your entire property and be patient and wait and pay a lot of money for all the upgrades and customizations, or would you rather have the convenience of moving right in and you can customize over time, fix things over time, but your home is not brand new? This is something that we actually don't talk about, but the stress factor when you are talking about buying a pre-existing home versus buying a lot and building a home. Now, here's the deal though, both of them are stressful, but are you able to sit with your stress for an extended period of time with things that are unknown, like inflation with regards to the cost of building? You could buy your lot today, and as the cost of goods and services go up, have the expectation of paying $400 a square foot to build the home of your dreams. And by the time you're done, you're looking more at $600 or $700 a square foot, again, not including soft costs or carrying costs. Is that something that you can sit with? Is that stressful? And is that stress worth the customization factor for you? Versus the stress factor of buying a pre-existing home. This is also stressful. You have time limits. If you're getting a loan, you have to get your loan done in time. You have to get your inspections done in time. You have to make sure that you close on time. But once all those are done, and it's usually from the time that you write an offer and your offer is accepted, about a 30-day period versus potentially an 18-month period. So are you able to sit with your stress so that you can get the home of your dreams customized exactly how you want it? Or are you only able to sit with your stress for approximately 30 days until you move in? And then, of course, you're going to have different stresses because you're going to have to fix things and whatnot. But that's a whole nother story. Statistically speaking, a survey that was done says that 50% of buyers experience extreme stress during the escrow process versus 80% of custom home builders. I'm not talking about contractors, I'm talking about people who are building and customizing the home of their dreams. 80% of builders experience stress and fatigue with regards to decision making, because remember, again, you have an extended period of time that you are making decisions, paying money, and not settled in your home. Now we're going to talk about lifestyle and location. Most of my clients make the decision on where to purchase their home based on its location. I know in real estate there's 3 words, and the most important words are location, location, location. So most of my clients, when they're deciding what home they want to buy, they first give me a geographic area of where they want to be located, and then as properties become available in that geographic area, we decide whether that specific property is the right one for them to purchase. So when you're buying a pre-existing home, it is a bit easier to know that you are getting a home in a neighborhood that you already love and adore, such as Seabright, such as the west side of Santa Cruz, versus if you are buying a lot in a brand new subdivision. Now, this is more on a nationwide basis because Santa Cruz doesn't have a lot of subdivisions that are being developed. But if you're buying a lot in a brand new subdivision and you don't know where your nearest grocery store will be, you don't know where your nearest school will be, you don't know where your nearest amenities will be, versus buying a pre-existing home in a neighborhood that you have access to everything that you already know and love, that's a big determining factor. Now, in Santa Cruz, generally speaking, since we don't have a lot of pre-planned subdivisions, generally speaking, a buyer would buy a lot in a neighborhood that they already know and love, and they would get to build their home on that individualized lot. So they would already have the information with regards to location and lifestyle. So in conclusion, is it better to buy or build? That is a great question. I get asked this question all the time, and here are the final breakdowns of the pros and cons. It is better to buy a pre-existing home if you need to move sooner, if you need to know your exact budget, if you are not patient, if you get stressed out easily, if you have limited cash reserves, and you absolutely have to be moved in by a certain deadline. It is better to buy a pre-existing home. It is better to build if you have patience and you want 100% control over the customization of your home. If you have the desire to experience the building process, if you have a flexible timeline and you have financial reserves and you have the ability to wait and pay more than you even expected having to pay. Also, make sure if you are on the pro build side that you have a comfortable place to live and that you know that it is secure and that you aren't going to have to be moving in the middle of your building project. And finally, make sure you have really good project management skills, maybe some spreadsheets. Make sure you hire very good contractors and vendors. So as you can see, the answer isn't always about the dollars. It's really a customized choice based on your desired outcome and your desired needs. So if you would like to do a deeper dive into the Santa Cruz real estate market and decide whether buying or building is the right choice for you, Comment below, fill out the form below, hit me up, phone, text, or email. I would love to be your realtor of choice in the Santa Cruz area. And if you are looking for a real estate advisor outside of the Santa Cruz area, fill out the form below and I will connect you with a lovely professional in the area of your choice. Thank you again for tuning in and thank you for being a part of our community. Until next time.